Hey guys, how's it going? So this whole Candace Owens thing just got just shot up to the next level. This is some wild stuff, and I'll get into all of it. Let me promote my music channel real quick, where I have these boxes that have pedals in them that I haven't unboxed yet, and I'll be going through them all. Like, I have 4 Walrus audio boxes. I have this one, and I think it's either today or tomorrow I'll have the Lizard Queen itself coming in, which is going to be amazing. If you all are JHS fans, you're going to love it. So please subscribe to my music channel. You'll see the link up there, top right corner of the video. And also, if you click the link in the description below, you will be able to get there even quicker. I may just pin it in the comments as well. I'm going to put it everywhere because I need to get to 1,000 subscribers on that channel ASAP, like within like a week or two. After that, I won't bother you with it anymore at all. But I promise, if you like music at all, if you like pedals, amplifiers, stuff like that, I review them. It doesn't have to be metal. I'm just a metal guy. But I review plenty of pedals and play stuff that's not metal all the time, just to give you full effect of everything that I'm demoing. So definitely check it out. Thank you all so much for helping me. Anyway, Candace Owens here goes off on Steven Crowder very hard. Too hard. And embarrasses herself. This is horrendous. This is probably one of the worst things I've ever seen. One of the worst responses. She could have responded to Steven Crowder's video going, man, this was ancient history. Why'd you bring this up again? You know, and called him like a man baby or something like that and walked off. She wouldn't have looked bad. Instead, she literally, oh my God, she's trying to pull his divorced wife in for drama. She is sending a lawyer for cease and desist for something that she did do. Now, Steven Crowder was wrong to use the term extortion. He was just wrong. The real term is blackmail. Extortion is blackmail, but specifically for money. So let's look up the definition of extortion. The practice of obtaining something, especially money, through force or threats. I guess, technically speaking, it could fall under extortion. It's just not the right thing. It's not the term I would have used per se. I guess if you're obtaining something, but maybe it means by obtaining something physical as well. Because it does say especially money. Now, blackmail, okay? The action treated as a criminal offense of demanding payment or another benefit. So benefit doesn't have to be something physical, okay? Now, what did she say? Well, she specifically said, if I feel like I need to defend myself, you know, I'm going to release the info on Crowder that I shouldn't talk about. She's claiming that she didn't know about the divorce at all, but she did know. There's no doubt that she knew. There's nothing else she could have been alluding to or talking about. Then she talks about how she did the most piss-poor detective work I've ever heard. About finding out he was getting divorced simply because he didn't follow his wife on Instagram and she didn't follow him. And then apparently she talked to either, who was it, Matt Walsh, I think. She talked to Matt Walsh or someone and said, are they divorcing? And he was like, no, Steven's my friend. He would tell me. Further showing that they weren't friends. And I hate that. I hate the narrative that Candace always has to show. Oh, and she also brings up the contract again and goes, see, we couldn't meet his negotiation, even though on Timcast, and I show the clip many times, I'm not going to show it in this video, but you can go back to the original video, and she says, what Steven should have done was put his big boy pants on and negotiate. And then in the next sentence, she goes, and then he offered $120 million contract over 4 years. Keep that in mind, guys. This isn't a payout of, here's $120 million cash to you only, Steven. Not what that was, but I don't care. Let's say it was. Who cares? He negotiated. And then they had a problem with it, and we're like, nope, we can only do the original deal. So she lies. says it's negotiable, and then we find out that the contract was not negotiable. Crazy. So anyway, let's play the video.
Let's talk about Steven Crowder. A lot of you guys have probably seen his live stream this morning where he brings me up. So we're going to have to respond to that, obviously, because he makes some pretty heavy implications and insinuations in his video that are so patently false that it's shocking to me that a man with his following would be stupid enough to put this onto a platform. So let's first...
Candace, nobody made you say the words that you said. And that video will come up again and people will see it and you're going to look like you're going to look like an idiot. I don't understand why you do this to yourself, but we'll proceed.
To back this up, in case you don't know who Steven Crowder is, it's totally plausible. He sort of lives on the internet. Steven Crowder is somebody who has a show called Louder with Crowder, who had something very terrible happen to him at the end of last year.
Okay, well, I don't want to get into his backstory, but I'm going to get into Candace's backstory a little bit. She used to be a hardcore extreme left-wing SJW that had a site that started a website called Social Autopsy. This website was there to dox minor children that were supposedly cyberbullies. What constitutes a cyberbully? Well, in minor children, I wouldn't think anything per se. Children are children, and they do silly stuff. So to be doxing them, and their information is still up to this day, it's pretty sad. So let's get into that backstory, huh? And let's tie it in with what she's doing today. She's acting like a total SJW in this video. You'll see.
The Daily Wire to this because it's simply not true. The idea that I'm somehow in bed with big tech or that I'm dishonest in what I do simply because we didn't accept, I guess, his counter offer. Well, Steven Crowder announced this morning that he is going through a divorce, and I want to show you bits of that video. Take a listen.
But needed to take a moment here to address some issues out there that are circulating. It's never fun, but well, I guess let me be clear here. I have been living with a proverbial boot on my neck for going on years now. Since 2021, I've been living through what has increasingly been a horrendous divorce. Now, let me say on the outset, to be clear, there is no infidelity, any kind of physical abuse at all on either side. And no, this was not my choice.
Okay, so in the open, you get it. Steven Crowder is a victim once again.
That's such a messed up thing to say, Candace. Oh, he's just a victim again. Dude's going through a divorce and he clearly doesn't want it. I would say that yes, he is a victim. Whether it's justified or not. Okay? His wife could be 100% justified in leaving him. He clearly doesn't want this divorce. So to a degree, it does make him a victim. Who cares? What is wrong with you? Would you be happy going through a divorce? I don't think you would. I don't think anybody's happy to go through a divorce, Candace. That's such a stupid thing to say. I don't care if Crowder's the worst guy in the world. If he doesn't want to go through a divorce because he cares about this person, I would simply think that, yeah, he would be a victim in that situation. He's clearly upset by it. This is insane. This is such a bad take. I cannot believe that she is like this.
And he's always a martyr for his belief. He's always a victim. And this time, it's the proverbial boot on the neck. He's literally George Floyd. So the idea here is you need to feel really bad for Steven Crowder right away because
he's George Floyd. You just need to feel bad for Steven Crowder right away. What in the world, Candace? You're acting like you know more about this divorce situation than he does. And you literally claim later on you knew nothing about the divorce. So
he's got a boot on his neck. Let's see what else he said.
So if you're familiar with the idea of extortion, then you know the feeling well. Now, some of these threats were so thinly veiled that I'm frankly surprised you didn't all guess immediately.
Steven has a lot going on, I guess is the best way to say it. He has a lot going on, and that should be clear because people don't do stuff like this if there's not a lot going on in their lives.
Now, why would you make a claim like that without knowing that he has a lot going on? I'm genuinely curious. What did he have going on at the time other than he was just literally out there trying to take contracts? He left the Blaze, but that's not what she's talking about because he's clearly out there fishing around for a new deal. That's not exactly what I would call a lot going on. and somebody getting stressed out. Oh my God, I'm getting so many deals. I'm getting so many offers thrown at me. What a problem. Yeah, no, that's not what she's talking about, guys. That's utterly stupid.
I would like to implore my audience and everybody that isn't paying attention to this situation not to condemn him, but to pray for him.
Pray for him because of all these terrible, terrible offers coming in of money being thrown at him. Is that really what she means? No, she clearly has inside information. Now, a lot of inside sources, too, have confirmed she knows. Now, I'm not going to say who all knows. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of everything. But long story short, anybody who's anybody that's in the higher end area of the YouTube spectrum essentially knew about this before it was ever public. Steven Crowder told a few people. Those people told other few people. Very credible sources. Okay? And sources who I've talked to really don't want to be involved. And I can understand why. So we're going to leave it at that. Candace did know. There is absolutely no question Candace did know about this divorce.
Sometimes people need a prayer. Sometimes people need a scripture. You know, Stephen purports to be a Christian. I am unsure at this moment if it is my place to say more than that.
Why? Okay, you're unsure if it's your place to say more than that. Clearly alluding to that you have more information. Is him getting contracts thrown at him at this point in time really that stressful? Sorry, but I wouldn't think a good problem is a stressful problem.
You know, maybe if I feel in further defense, something should be said, or maybe if I feel that the public has a right to understand certain circumstances.
If I'm in further defense, maybe I'll let people know. Or if the public I feel has a right to know. That's pretty wild, actually, to say, hey, if you keep pushing me, Steven, I'm going to tell them.
Well, my children have a right to privacy. Now, some other issues have been, or I should say, inferences have been more pernicious.
Let me explain what exactly happened to him. Steven Crowder has IVF with his wife, okay? They end up having twins, okay? In other words, he had to go to the hospital for her in order to get pregnant, okay? Because she was having some issues conceiving. She gives birth to a pair of twins. And then Steven Crowder has to go in for heart surgery. After he wakes up from heart surgery and makes it home, he finds out that his mother-in-law is there and his wife is gone. She left him. Twins were there, and she bounced. That's pretty bad. Okay? That's pretty bad. I feel like if Steven Crowder was some sort of incredibly abusive person, that the mother-in-law wouldn't have been staying there with the kids while the wife left. They'd probably all be there together with her family, and then they'd all sit down and talk, saying she's leaving, something like that. You know what I mean? So, it's crazy. It's a crazy story. Am I going to pretend that I know more than that? No. But here's the thing. If his wife wants to talk about it, she'll openly talk about it. But what Candace does here next is disgusting.
Behind the scenes with demands and threats to use this information that they believe would be so publicly embarrassing to me and my wife at a difficult time that it could be used, knowingly putting my children in harm's way. So to those self-styled Christians, conservatives, and allies, well, not in my book. Now, if you find yourself, I don't want to get into details, so this is going to likely be the only time I have to address this or want to address this. If you're asking yourself, hey, did X person or did Y person know? The answer is likely yes.
So much that I want to say here. First and foremost, if you're a person that watches his show, how do you not see that he is so obviously acting and that he is a very bad actor? Do you feel bad?
You said what you said, Candace. Why don't you just own it? I don't understand that. You literally said what you said. I mean, that's just embarrassing. Grow up a little bit.
For him when he says that. When he says, if you're familiar with the idea of extortion, well, if you are familiar with the idea of extortion, you should realize that that video that he just showed of me wasn't that.
No, it was the idea of it, according to him. He didn't say directly, you extorted me. He said, if you're familiar with the idea of extortion, you know what it feels like. In other words, he's actually saying, this feels like extortion to me. He didn't say it was, and that's not going to hold up well in court, which we'll find out in a second.
Nobody threatened him. Nobody made demands.
Oh, no, you did threaten him. There's no doubt about that. Threaten, blackmail, I could use those terms easily. Extortion, you're right. You didn't commit that. But, come on, let's be real.
Behind closed doors, his insinuation that I knew about his divorce before he decided to attack the Daily Wire is a pointed lie. Let me tell you what actually went on behind the scenes.
She's going to get her detective hat on, guys. Get ready for this one.
Steven Crowder on election night was our friend. He was on the backstage with all of us, laughing, having a great time. He even sent me a retrospectively very flirty message thereafter on Instagram about how nice I looked on election night, even though I didn't respond to it.
Wow. That's so... Men can't even compliment a woman anymore. And without her thinking that it's flirting. Good job, AOC. You know, that's all you've made. She is literally just an SJW at this point. She's literally acting like AOC. Stop flirting with me. Oh, no. He said I looked nice on election night. Wow. He was also single then, too, by the way, guys. Just letting you know. But regardless, who cares? Who cares that he sent you a compliment, which you didn't respond to? And then it didn't go anywhere else. He never pressed any issue. You literally just sound like a woman who's working out in a gym when a guy goes, hey, you need help with that? Don't talk to me. You do not talk to me when I'm in the gym. You know, sounds like one of those situations.
Thereafter, obviously, he attacked the Daily Wire. He decided to record his friend, Jeremy Boring, and to release the recording out of context to make it seem like Jeremy Boring knows that he's employing all of us like we're slaves, right? This is what Steven Crowder did. We had a right to respond forcefully to all of his claims. We all did that on our different platforms. And then I said to myself, just sitting there one day, why is he doing this? It's a very simple question and an obvious question that any person would ask. This is not normal behavior. It's very erratic to go from being friends with somebody, being with them on election night, laughing, having a great time, to suddenly wanting to ruin their entire company and launching Stop Big Con. It's bizarre behavior. I turned to my husband and I said, where's his wife in all of this? Isn't she so supposedly a...
How in the world did you come to that conclusion, lady? How in the world did you come to that conclusion of, well, this is so weird, and so next step of why is he doing this? Well, where's his wife? Who thinks that way? Anytime anybody, I've never thought once with your crazy claims, Candace, where's your husband? I haven't thought that. Has anybody in the comment section below here thought, where's Candace's husband at this moment in time? For the crazy claims she's made. No, that's a weird thought, Candace. Come on, just admit to it. You knew about the divorce. That's ridiculous.
A Christian? I'm just thinking about the way that I talk about everything in my life with my husband. Every night I'm talking to him about...
Okay, let's say they're fine, and she just happens to agree with him. Or it's like Jeremy Hambley's wife, who just really doesn't care to get involved, period. Or how about my wife? She knows virtually nothing about these videos. She hardly watches them. She's not interested in politics, and that's fine. And I do talk with her about some of this stuff, but definitely nowhere near to everything. This is so weird to me. I don't understand that at all. Candace has really gone off the deep end on this one.
What's going on at work? I thought to myself, where is Hillary Crowder in all of this? How did she not tell him not to do something this...
Weird that she knew her name, too. I guess maybe it's not weird. Has he said Hillary Crowder live all the time on his show? I don't know. But weird for you to directly name her.
Vicious and this disgusting. And then I said to my husband, I bet they're not even together.
How did you jump to this conclusion? What? Listen to that, guys. I bet they're not even together. Just because Steven Crowder accused Daily Wire of being Big Con, that leads to they must not be together. Do you all buy this? Are you serious? That is the wildest jump to conclusions I've ever heard. And I've covered a lot of SJW crap, guys, but are you kidding me? You jumped from Steven Crowder was mad that they didn't take his negotiation to, well, it must mean that he's divorcing his wife. Who could possibly put those two pieces together like that?
I logged on to Instagram and I found Hillary Crowder's Instagram account and I looked to see, and it turned out that she didn't follow Steven Crowder and that Steven Crowder didn't follow her. He didn't follow anybody in her family and she wasn't following anybody in his family. That was my aha moment.
This is so crazy. Not a single person in the world would have ever jumped to that conclusion. You are completely insane, Candace. You are an insanely bad liar. In this video, guys, if you haven't figured out already, I'm 100% on Steven's side with this one. This is utterly embarrassing, Candace. This is absolutely embarrassing. You think anyone's going to buy that? Well, Steven Crowder's acting weird. He must be getting a divorce. Nobody on this freaking planet would have came up with that.
Clearly, there was some sort of a separation. Now, this might sound like crazy CIA stuff, woman stuff. It's exactly what happened. I then spoke to Jeremy at the Daily Wire and I said, do you think that him and his wife are potentially separated? And he said, no. Obviously, it's his friend. He would have known whether or not they were separated, except he...
Candace, this is such a straw man argument. It's his friend, so he would have known. Well, Candace, you just made the argument that they weren't friends. Good job. That was a stupid play in your book there. That's all you did. I'm going to screenshot this too because this is funny. Anyway, so all in all, that's utterly ridiculous to come down to. And it was Jeremy Boring, not Matt Walsh. So there's that.
Didn't. He actually had no idea if they were separated either. Finally, we decided in conclusion, Jeremy advised that we just stay out of it.
That was good advice, and you screwed that up, Candace. You should have stayed out of it.
This is actually not our business, but at least it actually felt good to learn that he was going through something privately because it assigned some
She felt good about it because she was like, ha, loser. That's what it really was.
Reason for something that he did that was so horrific and so irrational to his friends. And finally, we said, okay, this is a broken man. This is what I was thinking. This is a broken man who is on some sort of a spiral. It is likely his divorce that led to this moment. He's acting erratic. He's acting panicked. And this at least gives us some sort of an excuse for why he behaved this way. That's it. That's the big, scary story. I then went onto my platform and I said, pray for Steven Crowder, honestly, because that's what he needs. He needs a prayer.
Why are you leaving out the part where you say, if I feel in more defense? Why leave that out, Candace? That's not all you said, is it? Why don't you elaborate what that actually meant? She never does, and there's a reason for it.
And apparently, nobody's answering those prayers right now because he's still acting erratic. He's now upping the ante.
He's acting erratic by doing what, going, And if you're familiar with extortion, well, watch this clip. And he goes, And then you're sitting there going, on camera. And you're saying he's acting erratic. It makes you look bad, Candace.
And suggesting that I extorted him. I will not take that lightly, okay? I am not Hillary Crowder. I am not anybody in his family. I am not going to take somebody going onto his platform and alleging that I either harassed, threatened, or...
I'm sure Hillary Crowder's taking it really well, right? No, she's getting a divorce. She's doing a hell of a lot more than you're going to do.
Did anything that would put his children at risk. That is very serious stuff that he is saying. And so what I did this morning after this clip was sent to me is I contacted a defamation lawyer and I am sending Steven Crowder a cease and desist. And I'm going to demand a full-throated retraction to the idea that Candace Owens threatened him or extorted him. And not that I simply did a little math. 1 + 1 = 2. A crazy man.
Okay, this is the end of the video. So she's going to try and sue him, even though she's not out any damages. So there's nothing she can gain. He doesn't have to retract something because he did not say you extorted me. He said it feels like extortion. He's allowed to feel however he wants, so that's not going to hold up in court. And yeah, you did threaten him. You did threaten him in that video. You said, if I feel, essentially in defense, I may talk about more, or if I may release something that I feel the public may need to know. That was your words. Okay? And you did know about the divorce. You've been caught lying multiple times. I can't trust you, Candace. You were caught lying on Tim Pool's podcast whenever you said he should have negotiated. That's what he should have done, is put his big boy pants on and negotiated. And then in the same sentence you said, but he did negotiate. And then Daily Wire just couldn't do it. So the only offer that he had was on the table, which is what Steven Crowder was saying in the beginning, that it was non-negotiable. And you said it was negotiable. And then you also said it wasn't negotiable. So make up your damn mind, Candace. That's the problem. You've been caught lying multiple times. You were lying about social autopsy. You were lying about everything. You are an SJW pretending to be a Republican. And it's disgusting. I don't understand how anybody has, any form of credibility. I don't understand why people think she has any form of credibility is what I'm trying to say. But honestly, I think people are over it. I think people are over Candace because for someone who has 1.57 million subscribers, she's only getting 107,000 views. You know what I mean? Her like to dislike ratio is pretty, it's decent, but definitely a lot higher than probably what it should be on the dislikes. So, yeah, I don't know. I think this was a horrendous video. I think Candace just looked like nothing more than a mere moron. So, all in all, it's messed up. Candace, I would say grow up, really, and I have said grow up, but honestly, look, she is the ultimate grifter. That's all I have to say about that. Blair White was 100% right about her. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.